The Herodian Tetrarchy was formed following the death of Herod the Great in 04 BCE, when his kingdom was divided between his sons as an inheritance. Judea, the major section of the Tetrarchy, was transformed by Rome in 06 CE, abolishing the rule of Herod Archelaus, and forming the province of Judea by joining together Judea proper, Samaria and Idumea. However, other parts of the Herodian Tetrarchy continued to function under Herodians. Thus, Philip the Tetrarch ruled Batanea with Trachonitis, as well as Auranitis until 34 CE, while Herod Antipas ruled Galilee and Perea until 34 CE. History. At the time of his death, Herod ruled over most of the southwestern Levant as a client state of the Roman Empire. Antipas was not Herod's first choice of heir. That honor fell to Aristobulus and Alexander, Herod's sons by the Hasmonean princess Mariam. It was only after they were executed, and Herod's oldest son Antipater was convicted of trying to poison his father, that the now elderly Herod fell back on his youngest son Antipas, revising his will to make him heir. During his fatal illness in 04 BCE, Herod had yet another change of heart about the succession. According to the final version of his will, Antipas' elder brother Archelaus was now to become king of Judea, Idumea and Samaria, while Antipas would rule Galilee and Perea with the lesser title of Tetrarch. Philip was to receive Auranitis, Batanea, Trachonitis and Auranitis. Because of Judea's status as a Roman client kingdom, Herod's plans for the succession had to be ratified by Augustus. The 3 heirs of Herod therefore traveled to Rome to make their claims, Antipas arguing he ought to inherit the whole kingdom and the others maintaining that Herod's final will ought to be honored. Despite qualified support for Antipas from Herodian family members in Rome, who favored direct Roman rule of Judea but considered Antipas preferable to his brother, Augustus largely confirmed the division of territory set out by Herod in his final will. Archelaus had, however, to be content with the title of ethnarch rather than king. Eventually, after his death, the kingdom was divided between 3 of Herod's sons. Archelaus, his son by his 4th wife Maldes the Samaritan, received the lion's share of the kingdom, Idumea, Judea and Samaria, and the title of ethnarch. Herod Antipas, Archelaus's brother, became Tetrarch of Galilee and Perea. Philip I, Herod's son by his 5th wife Cleopatra of Jerusalem, became Tetrarch of the northern part of Herod's kingdom. St. Luke the Evangelist lists Philip's territories as Iturea and Trachonitis. Josephus gives his territories variously as Batanea, Auranitis, Trachonitis and Panias and Batanea, Trachonitis, Auranitis, and a certain part of what is called the house of Zenodorus. A number of these names refer to the same places found now in modern-day Syria and Lebanon. In a turbulent period of history, the rule of the Tetrarchs was relatively uneventful. The most trouble fell to Archelaus, who was faced with sedition by the Pharisees at the beginning of his reign, and crushed it with great severity. After ruling for 10 years he was removed by the Emperor Augustus in 06 CE, following complaints about his cruelty and his offenses against the Mosaic law. He was replaced by a Roman prefect, and his territory reorganized as the Roman province of Judea. Philip ruled Iturea and Trachonitis until his death in 34 CE, when he was succeeded as Tetrarch by Herod Agrippa I, who had previously been ruler of Chalcis. Agrippa surrendered Chalcis to his brother Herod and ruled in Philip's stead. On the death of Herod Antipas in 39 CE, Herod Agrippa became ruler of Galilee also, and in 41 CE, as a mark of favor by the Emperor Claudius, succeeded the Roman prefect Marullus as ruler of Judea. With this acquisition, a Herodian kingdom of the Jews was nominally re-established until 44 CE. though there is no indication that status as a province was suspended. Name. The word Tetrarch suggests 4 rulers. However, Josephus, in the context of describing Herod's legacy, only mentions 3. He refers to Archelaus, who had 1/2 of that which had been subject to Herod, and for Philip and Antipas the other half, divided into 2 parts. On the other hand, Luke the evangelist refers to Lysanias, Tetrarch of Abilene, in his list of rulers at the time of John the Baptist, alongside Pontius Pilate, Herod, and Philip. Josephus's reference to 1/2 the kingdom may signify that Archelaus was ruler of 2 quarters. This would suggest that division into quarters was already established, and that Lysanias' quarter was part of a different tetrarchy in Syria. This is credible, as Herod III, brother of Herod Agrippa I, was Tetrarch of Chalcis, which was to the north, outside Herod's kingdom. Or it may be that Josephus, in describing the inheritances of Herod's sons, omitted to mention Lysanias or his predecessor, as they were not Herodians. The reference to 1/2 of the kingdom could then be understood as a geographical, rather than a political observation. Archelaus's share of the kingdom covered about half the territory, and more than half the revenue, owned by Herod. It is the view of W. Smith, referring to Abilene, that Abilene, or part of it, was subject to Herod before his death, and held by Lysanias as a tetrarchate from him. The territory was returned later to the Herodians, the first part by Caligula to Herod Agrippa I, the remainder by Claudius to Herod Agrippa II.